Good morning, everybody. Really a special pleasure and zchus to be speaking to everyone. Hopefully, what I prepared, I'm able to give over in a clear fashion, and we could all gain and grow from it. Motivational speakers are paid hundreds of dollars to give talks to corporations, on college campuses, at community events. They're often people who overcame very significant challenges in their own lives. They achieved great success, and they speak about their experiences and how they overcame them, and they give that message over to their audiences and try to motivate them and say, you can do it too. You could be successful also. You just need that extra boost and push of motivation. And the truth is, we see this idea in Chazal, this concept of motivation. We see it very much in Chazal. In the Tfilas Geshem that we say on Shmini Atzeres, we try to bring in the Avos and our tzaddikim who have done different acts related to Mayim, and in their zchus, we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu that He should give us rain and a good, healthy, rainy season and good parnasa for the upcoming year. So we bring in Yaakov Avinu. What do we say about Yaakov Avinu? A few different things. We talk about passing the Yarden with his stick, fighting the Sarah Shel Esav. We say Yichad Lev V'Gol Even Mipi Be'er Mayim. Yaakov put his heart together, put his mind together, and he rolled the stone off of the Be'er Mayim. He rolled the stone off of the Be'er. When it came the time for him to meet his wife by the Be'er, so he saw Rachel there. The Be'er was covered, the well was covered with a big stone. It usually waits for the shepherds to come, and Yaakov Avinu did it himself. How did he do it? Was he such a strong man? Was he a weightlifter? How did Yaakov do it? So we say in our tefillah, the Alter Slabatka points out, Yichad Lev V'Gol Even Mipi Be'er Mayim. He put his mind to it. There was a tremendous motivation. He saw this as the future of his building, of his life, and going to be what we call Klal Yisrael, and he was right about it. And that energy that he was energized with, that motivation was so strong that enabled him to overcome the physical. Motivation carries us a very, very long way. However, motivation alone doesn't really help us get the job right. There's a beautiful mashal that the Archas Hadikim says in the Hakdama of his Sefer, and he says the following. He said, if Reuven wants to find Shimon, Reuven's looking all over, he's trying to find Shimon. If Reuven doesn't know how Shimon looks, he could spend the entire day looking for Shimon, hours and hours, he will not find him. If Reuven is in the wrong state, in the wrong city, he's not searching the right place, he could spend weeks and months looking for Shimon. He will never find him because he doesn't know what he's looking for. So as much as motivation makes such a big difference, but we need to understand the proper path for success so that when we are motivated, we could channel it properly and see the success, the hatzlacha that we're really looking for. And that's really the topic of today's shmuz. Indeed, we're motivated. We are sincere about growing in our ruchnias. We want to improve our midos. We want to perform mitzvos better. We want to increase our limud haTorah. But at times we fall short. So how can we increase our success in the pursuit of real growth? How can we indeed make it that as we try and we work hard and we really put those efforts in, we could see it to fruition, we could see the success, the hatzlacha we so much are waiting for and looking for. On the simplest level, I think the first step, it's a beautiful Ralbag in Parshas Toldos. The Ralbag talks about Yaakov Avinu's attempt to get the brachos from his father Yitzchak. We know that those brachos in Yitzchak's mind were intended for Esav. Rivka understood with her chachma, her vision, which she had much more clearly than Yitzchak, the physical vision. She understood that the purpose of these brachos was to go to Yaakov Avinu, and she said, Yaakov, you have to dress up, play the part, play the role, put Esav's begadim on, Ores Gidai Izim. Make sure you dress up to be fully like Esav. The Ralbag says, Hatoeles Hashlishi Hu B'midos Gamkim. We learn a very important message in Midos from here. Anyone who's doing any action to accomplish whatever it is, you got to make an effort to remove anything that's going to stop you from doing it. And to bring forth, to bring out, to make as accessible as possible the things the things that will enable you to accomplish the job. It sounds like a pretty logical and pretty basic step. If you want to accomplish something, If we want to do things and really see our goals pan out, we have to use all the means within our control. If I want to do well on a test, well, I have to study the material. I might be motivated, but the motivation has to push me to put the efforts of studying in, and then I'll see the success. If I want to convince a friend, a teacher, a parent for something, I have to plan my request in advance. I should anticipate what might they say back to me, and I'll address the reasons he might say no. I already have the logic and the seichel in my mind planned out what my response is going to be. If I want to get up for shachris early in the morning, have an alarm set, have someone wake me up, go to sleep at an early time. Motivation is only going to work if we put all the exterior, all the outside forces into place, and then we have a chance to really, really see the success that the motivation is aiming towards. However, there's a much deeper perspective that I want to bring out, and that's really the main piece of the shmooze today. Not just the first step of the Ralbag, but the second step, which is as follows. We know there's been a lot of talk recently about how to protect ourselves when we go outside, how to protect ourselves when we're around other people. And if you look at what the experts say, there are many types of masks available. There's minimum performance mask, maximum filtration. It really depends on the purpose of the task at hand. So if you're someone who's young, feel you're healthy, you're not so nervous about getting sick, you're not in an environment where the virus is spreading so strongly, you're not going too close to other people, you're not going too close to sick people. So you might just wear a simple mask that levels are not so great. After all, there are so many different standard masks. You might wear a level 1 mask or perhaps even something below that. But if you're someone who a little more nervous about your health for whatever reason, you're around other people that are sick, you can't risk yourself being sick because of people that you're next to, then you're going to take it up a notch. And your mask is not just going to be a level 1, perhaps a 95% protection. It'll be level 2, moderate protection. 98% perhaps a level 3, a high level protection. And there are very different types of masks, and they spend a lot of time explaining the ASTM standards, go through very carefully what each mask is able to do and the quality and ability of each mask to protect us safely. And of course, it's not just the mask itself, but how to make it possibly as effective as possible. How do I wear it? What is the fit of the mask? All of these aspects of having a really good mask is going to help me be safer. The more important and the more delicate the task, the more every detail counts. If it's not such a big deal to me, if it just was 6 months ago when I was going to the dentist, it wouldn't really make a difference what type of mask he had on his face unless I knew he was very, very sick. But now, it's a little more important and a little more delicate. Every detail counts. Sometimes we can't see the difference, but the results definitely show. If a second grader spells a word wrong on a school project, it's not as big of a deal as a writer, an editor who made a mistake on the front page of the New York Times. When the task is so more important and so more delicate, then we have to step it up ourselves. In this week's Parsha, we talk about the concept of a mum by a behema. And the Sefer HaChinuch explains that part of the Shoresh HaMitzvah, part of the root of this mitzvah is the following. Before I say what the Sefer HaChinuch says, what I would have said is if I'm bringing something to Hashem, if I'm bringing an animal to Hashem, a korban to Hashem, it should be as pure and beautiful as possible because I'm presenting it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not that it's wrong, but he says something a little different than that. He says that if the goal of the korbanos is to awaken us, it's to motivate us, then I get affected by my actions. I get affected by the look of the korban. So if this animal, its eye is not on the same level as the other eye, if there's some small mum in the animal that makes it imperfect, then my emotions, my feeling when I go through that korban is not going to be as good. Because bringing of a korban is an important task. It's something that's so special and so important. I want to achieve kapara. So if I just take back a small notch, a small percentage of what I'm doing, and my emotions are not fully there, then I can get hurt because I won't have the most beautiful korban. And when we're doing something so important, every single bit counts. Here in Yeshiva, we're working on the most important and precious and delicate task in the world. We're developing ourselves. We're trying to become real Ovdei Hashem, using Torah Musar. Any slight deviation off that path could really have significant repercussions. We want to be the most polished diamond we can be. If I'm sitting and learning, the difference between sitting forward and extra involved in the shir, or sitting back with my feet up, small difference perhaps. Either way, I'm listening, but that makes a very big difference in something so powerful and precious. The difference between coming to share, coming to learn, very well rested, or a little tired, perhaps a small difference. I'm not falling asleep. My mind's not as sharp. When we're learning something so precious and so important, that small difference can make such a big difference. What makes this more challenging is that the Yetzer Hara knows this, and the Yetzer Hara fights very strongly on this area. In the Akedah, the end, Avram Avinu passed this most amazing test, the 10th Nisayon, Akedas Yitzchak. Hashem says, sorry, you're not bringing Yitzchak as a carbon. So Avram Avinu lifts up his eyes, and he sees there's an ayil, it's a ram. Nechaz basfach bekarnav, it got trapped in the bushes. So he went and brought this ayil as a carbon instead of his son. So there's some Rashis over here. Explain a little more of what was going on. Rashi tells us that this wasn't just any ayil. This is a ram that Hashem prepared from the 6 days of creation. This ram had to be here to go and fulfill this task of being brought as the replacement carbon of the Akedas Yitzchak. Rashi then goes and says, so how did it get entangled in its horns? So Rashi explains, the ram was there and he was waiting, and Hashem said, okay, green light, ram, this is your chance, this is what you were created for. As it started to run to Avram, the Satan got it entangled in the trees, and he couldn't really make it there. So my Rebbe, our Rebbe, Rashiv Hanachliva Tzatzal, one of the shmuzin that really has made a roshim on me, he asked the following question. He says, these Rashis seem to be in stira, because the first Rashi says the ram was prepared for its job. The second Rashi says the Satan is trying to stop it. Satan, what are you doing? You're not going to be able to stop the ram. This was part of the plan of creation. It's been planned for hundreds of years, almost thousands. This is happening. Just sit back, Satan. You lose, Avram wins, and go on. What was he trying to do? So the Rashiva said, go to the last Rashi on that pasuk. When it says Tachas Beno, what does it mean? He brought him as an Ola instead of his son. So Rashi says, when Avram Avinu did this avoda, he wasn't just saying, okay, no Yitzchak, let's get ram. No, it was much more than that. As he brought the ram on every aspect of the avoda, he said, Hashem, could you please accept this as if I brought my son? I was prepared with all the emotions of my entire inner being to go and bring the most amazing carbon. Okay, Hashem, that's not what you want. That's fine, but I want you to accept it as if it's my son. Ki'ilu b'ni shachad, ki'ilu d'mo zarek, as if he's being shechted, his blood sprinkled, every aspect of it. The Satan said, Avram Avinu, you're trying to do such an amazing act with that full, complete emotion, the powerful emotion of the Akedas Yitzchak. I want to take out a little piece. Let me get this ram entangled. You have to come and pull its horns out and get it out. You'll lose some of that emotion. Avram Avinu, you're trying to do the most amazing accomplishment to this task, the 10th of the Nisyonos, a little less. That's what the Satan fights for, a little less. But you know what Avram Avinu fought back for? A little more. I'm not going to stop that. Yehi Ratzon, every single aspect should be my son. And that's how we have to fight back. The Yetzer Hara knows when these involvement of these tasks that we're doing are so chashuv and so special and so important. So he fights back to decrease every amount, and we got to fight to increase every amount. Our Rebbeim tell us all the time, we have to be so careful what we look at, what we listen to. Anything that comes into our system could affect us, any small impurity, any distraction. We each know ourselves. We work to try to remove these distractions to make ourselves more successful. If we're not seeing the success we really hope to see, so let's try to look inward and see what distractions are pulling us back. Maybe they're small, but when we're doing a task so great, these small things really make a difference. Speak to a Rebbe, speak to someone to help us move past it and take those extra steps of growth. If I can mention another example, which is somewhat relevant to our distant learning over here. As we're sitting here learning, it's somewhat of a challenge for many of us. The environment that we're able to surround ourselves with is not the same as we have in yeshiva. Not all of us have a quiet room surrounded by Svarim, nothing else except a computer that could only access the Rebbe's share and the Zoom meeting that I'm in the middle of, many other things going on. And each one of them is a distraction that really hurts our learning and it really hurts our growth. Some are not within our control. Some families, my setup is I have to learn in this room where there are other people that are walking in and out. But there are some that are within our control. We could take our cell phone before we start share each day and turn it off and put it on the other side of the room. We can make sure that our desk is clear, the area we're sitting with is clear, that the only things that are here are the things that I need for learning. And probably most importantly, the screen that I'm looking at, we can make sure that the only thing that's up on that screen is what I'm supposed to be focusing on. Sometimes we say, okay, but I'm multitasking, I'm doing a lot of things at once. I have a lot of things I like to do. So even though there's share going on, but other things going on also. Perhaps. But when we want to accomplish something so great, so amazing, if we do multitasking, maybe not as extreme as this guy, but even on a small degree, it's going to hurt. It's really going to take us away from what we're trying to accomplish. People say, wow, he can multitask. He's so accomplished. And Chazal say, oh, he pizer hanefesh, scatterbrain. His mind's not focused on what he's doing. We know that when it comes to Limud HaTorah in particular, we really need that full focus of our mind and brain to understand the beauty and the depth of the Torah and to have the siyata d'shmaya from Hashem to help us do so. I want to conclude with a story of mice I heard very recently. I was listening to a recording from Rav Mordechai Gifter Zatzal, an amazing story. He was visiting a Talmud of his in Mexico City. He was going collecting for his yeshiva. This student was quite wealthy. He described the house as being 2 blocks long. So I don't know if it's similar enough to this house, but he made an appointment, took some time to get the right time they could meet, and he met with him. So besides asking for money, he was a former student at Talmud. He was schmoozing with him, see how he's doing. And he was trying to figure out why it was so hard to find an appointment time. He said, well, what time do you leave your house? What time do you get up in the morning to get started? Oh, I get up at 4 a.m. What time you finish work? What time you back home going to sleep? Oh, 11 p.m. So he said, so why do you have such a beautiful house? Okay, so he explained it. I need a house for my family, for whatever. But then the Talmud shared some line with him. And this line, or Gifter said, is a line that it was much more valuable than any of the money he got. He didn't say how much he got. The line was like this. The person said, to be successful in business, you need to live in business. And he said, I have to live in business. So I got to get up really, really early. And I got to stay there the entire day. And only then can I come home. Because you got to live in the business. If we can, as best as possible, try to inculcate and imbibe this idea and try to make it a greater part of our daily lives, our limud haTorah, our focus on our tefillah, our focus on our shmiras hamitzvahs, all the aspects that we really care so much about. If we could find a way to try to go and increase our success, as we said at the beginning, the first step is to feel the motivation. We're all motivated. Yes, we could use extra steps of motivation, and there are certainly opportunities and times for that. The next step is to understand I got to put everything in place to make it work. Okay, I'm trying that too. But the last step, to realize that even those little small things, even those small distractions that really hurt us, we have to try to remove as many as possible. If by the end of the day today we got rid of 1 or 2 of them, we made a big step, because that diamond is going to be extra polished. Rabosai, we should be zocha that as we pull these distractions out of our way and get fully focused on our ruchnias, we should be zocha to be able to indeed climb the ladder to success, and we should see much hatzlacha together. Have a wonderful day. Any announcements to make, Rabbi Gita?